Szanowni Panie ta Panowie, ladies and gentlemen, today we are gathered together to honor the memory of those souls who died in a nightmarish death at a genocidal instrument of the Soviet Russian Empire. The genocide was implemented over the 1920s and 1930s. We call the portion occurring in 1932 to 1933 the starvation, the Holodomor. Is it possible for us sitting here today to truly understand what our Ukrainian brothers and sisters went through in their epoch? I'd like to share the words of Miron Dolot with you. We looked toward the approaching winter of 1932-1933 with great trepidation, as if awaiting the arrival of Judgment Day. It came with nature's crushing wrath. The particularly severe winter conspired with the communists against the farmers. In our region, winter begins at the end of November, when the heavy rains stop and the first frost sets in, the puddles freeze, and the mud hardens. Heavy, grayish, white snow clouds chase each other across the sky. This change of weather is accompanied by an icy east wind, which blows along the valley and forces people to retreat into their shelters. It is the time when our villagers hurriedly finish their work in the fields and retire to their deserved winter rest. In the past, when the field work ended, our villagers were not forced to go out in bad weather. They would set aside enough food and firewood so that the cold days and nights indoors meant little hardship. But the winter of 1932-1933 was different from any of the previous ones. Although nature followed her usual pattern with the exception of unusual cold, the life of the villagers did not take its normal course, for in step with the winter, a great famine approached. The scarcity of food alarmed us as early as November, while we were still working in the fields of the collective farm. The small advance received from the kolkhoz had already been consumed. We had been told that we would receive more food as soon as the field work was completed, but we never did. Then came the taxes. Taxes in the form of eggs and milk were obligatory only to those who owned fowl and cows, but each household had to meet a quota of meat, approximately 250 pounds annually, regardless of livestock holdings. Farmers without livestock were forced to pay this obligation to the state with money. Thus, the annual earnings of a collective farmer from his work on the collective farm were insufficient to meet his obligations to the state, let alone for his subsistence. However, even if the villagers had had money, it would have been impossible for them to purchase food, for in fact, the trade in foodstuffs and other consumer commodities was officially prohibited. On November 6, 1932, the Council of People's Commissars and the Central Committee of the Communist Party jointly issued the following resolution. Because of the shameless breakdown of the grain collection campaign in various counties of Ukraine, the Council of People's Commissars and the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Ukraine order the local party and administration authorities to eradicate sabotage of grain, which has been organized by counter-revolutionary and Kurkul elements. The opposition of a number of communists, leaders of this sabotage, must also be stamped out. And the passive and indifferent attitude towards this sabotage on the part of some party organizations must be liquidated. The Council of People's Commissars and the Central Committee have decided to blacklist all those localities which conduct criminal sabotage and to apply against them the following reprisals. Number 1, to suspend the flow of all merchandise and all state and cooperative trade in these localities, to close all state and cooperative stores, and to remove all supplies of merchandise. Number 2, to prohibit trade in essential foodstuffs, which trade heretofore had been conducted by collective farms and individual homesteads. Number 3, to suspend all credits destined for these localities and to withdraw at once all credits already given to them. Number 4, to overhaul the personnel of the administrative and economic organizations and to remove all enemy elements therefrom. 5, to do the same on collective farms by removal therefrom of all enemy elements engaged in sabotage. This resolution obviously deprived the farmers not only of the foodstuffs grown locally, but also of commodities such as matches, salt, kerosene, fish products, sugar products, canned food, etc. These are the words of Miron de Lot in his eyewitness account of the Holodomor called The Hidden Holocaust. I would like to introduce to you Pani Irena Reznicka, who will sing our national anthems.